Press. Welcome everyone to Educational Webinar Jam third series. And today's session we have our three presenters. Joining us today is Mr. Muhammad Haseen Ahmed, Dr. Hala Dalbani, and Ms. Khadija Hamidani. And starting first with Dr. Muhammad, followed by Dr. Hala, and then Ms. Khadija. So we kindly request all the attendees to mute their mics. You will get time at the end to ask any questions if required. Okay, Mr. Muhammad, the floor is all yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much for that glowing introduction.
Kindly unmute yourself. We can't hear you. Thank you.
Thank you so much considering me for this August gathering of presenters along with so many. I really don't deserve that glowing introduction that you initiated with. Anyway, I'm just going to highlight some of the potential empowering impact of online tools in the research and language learning area. So I'm going to explore transformative potential of online assessment tools actually. So since we have assessment and testing continuous going on process, every institutions in the entire education field, and we have to adopt strategies for maximizing our credibility, authenticity, and our fail-safe data to ascertain whether the results are grounded in the empirical research. So some of the tools that are really very common and is changing the landscape of learning because of on a daily basis and every day we have the technological world evolving, and it's giving us fresh insight. It's an unprecedented, never heard of, never seen, never experienced learning insights, not only into the logging patterns, or the participation, the embracement of technology, the personalized diagnostics capabilities. It could be prognostics or the right measurement of the finished product. So obviously our assessment tools, and it's not one size fits all to individualized learning approaches, and every individual is unique. His product, whether it's writing or whether it's spoken utterance, or is all unique, and technology allows us to have a look and insight into the making of the evolution, also the improvement required. That's what is diagnostic all about. So the good thing about today's online technological world is that we have loads and loads of reservoirs of data, and those data fed into these robust systems, and they allows a fresh pair of eyes looking into the real challenges for learners and their preferential learning probably styles or needs. So these online assessment tools, they give us a lot of benefits. First of all, it can instantaneously give some performance feedback. It can be so prompt that it is a blink of the eye. Just the learner has submitted his assignments, done his tests, and his score is already there. So based on that immediate performance feedback, sometimes we need immediate performance feedback so that he will have a revised version of his writing, looking at that feedback where some of the mechanical errors could have gone into. Then we have a detailed diagnostic analysis of language skills. So not only a preliminary insight into the way they attempt the task, the kind of efforts they make, the lacuna, could be linguistic, could be mechanical, grammatical, So, and in spoken, we could have the accent related speech impediments, or so it gives a full diagnostics analysis of all the language skills across the board for every learner individual, and regardless of the number of students learners, it can be hundreds. And so that's humanly impossible for the teachers or to keep track of. Like, it's hard in the large classes to keep an eye on every individual's personal needs. So it targets the skill improvement recommendations. I mean, it allows you to tweak, to further refine our approaches. Even we have prompt generation, like instantaneous with the kind of outcome that the writing task has been. ChatGPT can give you a recurrent, recursive, iterative prompts, and those prompts can be attempted depending upon the child's previous attempt. So it's quite flexible learning space and style because it's synchronous, and you can do it, I mean, as a teacher or as a supervisor, or you can keep an eye on in the real time. And the learner also has to choose how much time, how much space, his style he has got to. So, and as far as cost effective, I mean, like, so of course sometimes we just subscribe to some of these tools, but the majority of them are free. As ChatGPT itself is free, no need to buy the package for early on adopters. So cost-effective learning solutions. Now, why do we need to understand a language learning style, or how do we skill the map? So it gives you a comprehensive skill mapping. That means if you really want to prepare a blueprint for institutional needs, for your language labs, or for your target audience, it can give you a skill-based mapping where you can have an eye on all the 4 competencies or skills that need to be improved upon. So specific strengths and weaknesses, specific strength regarding spokenness, it could be pronunciation, could be accent, could be the choice of lexes, could be the sentence length, also could be L2 interference. Like, we come from a background where our first language has a lot to play a part, so even our lexicology is affected. So we may not be conversant with the living idioms of as a native teachers, so it identifies specific strengths. And I agree to the fact that there's nothing cannot be learned or trained, or whether it's accent training or it's, so we can improve upon the specific key areas of growth by tracking progress over time, depending upon the kind of syllabi or curriculum we're aiming for. It depends upon, like, we have a certain number of programs which are really expedited, like 4 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks intensive course, ESPL, English for specific purposes. So we don't have enough time to sustain our in touch, in person monitoring. And so these online tools can keep monitoring and can track the progress over time. Time frame is determined by the institutional needs, the learner's needs. It can be immersive programs, they're very fast and quick, like as I told you, it could be semester-based system, or so it's catered to the personalized learning pathway developments. A child or a learner can be very slow in adaptation of certain aspects of things. So it will chalk out a pathway, and it will go for adaptive testing platform. Like we are using adaptive testing like from Oxford, Cambridge, and those testing, world international testing providers. They provide us the platforms, and they use the adaptive testing tests actually can be placement test, can be like based on like IELTS or ITOEFL. And AI power language diagnostics, AI power language diagnostics is really brilliant way of looking at the ifs and buts, the nuts and bolts of the language. So also in interactive skill assessment modules, we have loads of assessment formula. It could be summative, it could be formative. Usually we care for the formative assessment towards the end of the end result, the product, and that may spread upon a couple of weeks, a couple of months, semester based. So we have like tools that they are evaluators, and they are really comprehensive language proficiency evaluators. So for example, Duolingo, that's tied to ChatGPT, and they, as I mentioned, that they give us the project-based writing assignments. They also work for iterative, like we say, recursive, with the prompt, with the newer prompts coming up. And there's a pool of prompts that the learner can be asked to choose from. So what are the diagnostic features of AI tools? It can give us a detailed grammatical error analysis. Now, grammatical errors might be basics like mechanical errors of punctuations, capitalizations, full stops, commas, and those kind of things. Also, can have syntactic errors like structural, material, can be subject of agreement. That can be kind of. Then we have diagnostic feature tools that deal with pronunciation assessment. Like there is one Elsa speaking. Also we have character AI, and there are a plethora of them. I don't need to mention all of them. So they can train. They record the voice. You can video tape yourself. You can repeat after. It can be drilled, it can be echoed, and also it will improve upon depending on the kind of pronunciation you'd like to attempt. As for accent training, vocabulary complexity tracking, it's a wide field. And since we have a corpus linguistics, we used to have like from Cambridge, and they would tell us the repetitions of the words, the overusage, the personal usage, and that's how we go for 2000 really functional words, the transaction words, depending upon the choice of. So a learner cannot have a large lexis volume, and he has to. So depends upon what kind of whether it's basic vocabs or whether it's advanced lexis, whether it's like proverb. Not proverbs actually. These are phrasal verbs, and mostly phrasal verbs are very handy in expressions and day-to-day expressions. So contextual language usage validations, like some of the writings, some of the language, they really require and lots of contextual. In context, we always write or speak or whatever read in context. It can be culture, it can be language specific, it can be geographical. So contextual language usage evaluation, like L1, L2 learners, like in the Arab world, they will have L2 learners with Arabic predominance, and L2 influence will be really, really intense. So it can diagnose that. So obviously, it prepares the learners, the teachers to monitor customizing learning recommendations. Like you may not have, might have misread or misinterpreted or couldn't have gauged the proficiency level of all of your students with large classrooms, but these tools are capable of handling large data, and they can give a customized learning recommendations, like it can be specific to each individual learner. That's impossible for any teacher at large. So targeted skill development plans, it can also like tailor. It can also customize and also have specifics of what key areas of key competencies that need to be developed. And it adapts content difficulty, like varying the challenging level, and it keeps on letting you proceed with more challenging tasks depending upon your previous attempts and your score. So the real-time performance tracking is done through these tools, individual reflection, current language learning tools. Now, we can also involve our learners in deciding what tools they can adopt, where they find really helpful in, and also the resources that they have to determine what kind of resources, like tools can be employed. Some of the tools are basics and everyone has can lay hands on. For example, Google Drive or Google Forms and or Google Sheet, Google, like I'm using this. So I mean, it's free and everyone has a Gmail account and not a big deal. I mean, project-based learning can always be done through sharing paired with the LLM notebook. That's the end thing, I would suggest, actually, I would strongly recommend to use that LLM, and so the group projects can be carried on. There are discussion boards on like Notepad. We have Padlet, where the partners can have discussion boards and also can decide upon which tools to adopt. So whole group sharing, insights, experiences, protocol. I mean, if it's a group sharing on insights or group project, they can have a personal reflection time, they can have partner discussion time, they can group sharing times. So the whole concept of employing these online tools, that it's accessible, it can be harnessed, it can be utilized to the best of the ability of every learner who's involved. Now, if I have to talk about the Arab world, like Gulf context, as told, like Arabic L2 learner, writers, speakers, or readers. So that is an all-out effort by in Middle East countries, and in fact, it's a big way into going big way into this AI harnessing, and they have large data centers being, and there is integration move, technical integrations move. And students are being allowed to resort to these kind of infrastructure, and every country is coming up with regional technological infrastructure of their own. UAE, you'll be surprised to know that the adoption of AI technology is 52%. I mean, it's more than US or any other advanced nations. So culture constitution, digital learning, yes, this is a lacuna. This is a problem area, where since all the data harness comes through the online digital involvement of sophisticated users of the technology, sometimes it gives a culture shock, because the data pool can be biased, can talk ill of, or can talk negatively or adversely of the culture that's specific to an Arab world or a Gulf countries. The emerging education technology trends is rising like a phoenix, and believe me, it's going to alter the very landscape of education very soon. And we are coming up with the localized language learning solutions that give solutions in Arabic also. So all these applications are being duplicated or reframed or reshaped, redesigned to suit our learners from the Arab world. So how do we overcome digital learning challenges? There are some challenges I just talked about. It could be the basically internet accessibility, but we cannot simply cry over this, because half the world is connected to internet accessibility. Cheaper internet, like a place in India, it's accessible to, and everybody uses smartphone these days. It's not nice, no brainer to think of activity based on internet. And even there are some application tools which don't need internet. It can be accessed offline as well. It can be downloaded, it can be used without any connectivity. But the thing is, technological adoption comes from embracement. If you say no, and you are skeptic, and you say all the time negative adverse effects of, so there is the need of awareness and technology literacy to begin with. In order to be the direct beneficiary, you must adopt technology, with an open hand, with an open source, with without reservation. So and you need to know how it works, what best works for you, how you can have control over it. I mean, it's not it's taking a decision and so on. And teachers always there on the part of supervision and monitoring. So whatever learning process takes place, along with or without technological tools, the teacher or the supervisor or the institution will all have another pair of eyes, can also have principled policies, clear-cut policies, where adoption can be done across the board without much glitches or much of resentment. Or like there are teachers and they prefer the traditional ways of testing and giving feedback and all. They find it more convenient them. But its convenience will, for the sake of for you, it's okay. But larger masses, the adult learners, the Gen Z, they're all adopting the technology and they're far ahead of us. So it's a kind of race we must win over as a effective educator, trainer, or teacher trainer. Maintaining human interaction in digital environment is, people complain of that. Oh, okay, I mean, but that's how I'm pressing upon that. You're always there for monitoring, always there to supervise things, and always be a helping hand at whenever a learner fails to grasp it and he has a problem with accessing this technology. You could be there as a ready help. AI assessment tool components. Now, how do these AI tools work actually? They work on the NLP, like natural language processing. So all the researchers so far being undertaken in the world of education, has the same premise. How our brain works, how do we acquire or adopt the knowledge acquisition. It comes from natural language processing, like a child, how it is a tiny toddler, babies, and all. How our brain functions, how we can maximize our processing and faster process. Machine learning algorithm. Now, when we have the input of the machines, they learn the way our children, our young learners, they learn. It's like machines, they are aping, they are mimicking. I'll call it mimicry. They mimic the way we learn the language. So these machines are quite great at, and all these machines are not just generative like ChatGPT, or they are actually generating the very process of outputting as we output as a human being, as our empowered brains are. So they have studied how the brain adopts, how the neural networks like synapses, how the new wirings are done, how we adopt, how we learn the lexis, newer words, how many times do we repeat to learn a new word. So all these are being monitored and fed into the system. Like, so it's like whether it's synthetic data or it's actual data. So machine learning algorithms, they always work at the way our brain works, and then they create adaptive testing mechanism. So this adaptation comes from the pool of data that has been gathered worldwide, institution-wise, and that there these companies, publishing companies and houses, and even our social media network, the way we input our own comments and posts and all. So every data, a single data, is fed into the digital landscape, and then those are adopted and adapted testing mechanisms. As I mentioned about Duolingo in consultation with the ChatGPT. So these are the online tools and mechanism. They train us to go multilinguals by teaching a language, including translations. And translations is that any bot can translate hundreds of languages. But the thing is that most of the language acquisition, and they work the same ways. It's no different from others, except certain mechanical alterations. So it's a continuous learning capabilities that's in the hands. It's like a tool in the hands. It's like weaponized the learners, and they can utilize these tools to the best of their conditioning circumstances. So and also we can keep an eye on whether what kind of skill developments are being developed, or he is off the track and he's derailed. Like we can always pull them back to the tracking. So granular performance metrics. The metrics is like who is performing more, what basis is performing, what is the graph showing. So if we tabulation in the tabular forms, we can have a complete reflections of the graph, whether learner is rising or falling or not coming up with the expectations. So it's called progress visualization, and that's how we recreate the goal settings mechanism. And we can have a tweaking, so there's a compass where, north, south, east, west. If we have to, it is a great way of saying it. So technological advantage, then we have potential limitations. The limitations can be overcome. Yeah. Yes.
Kindly don't interrupt the presenter. You will have time to speak at the end. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Mr. Muhammad. We apologize.
No problem. So all queries will be addressed. All queries will be addressed towards the end of my presentation. Don't worry about it. South's potential limitations. Learning effectiveness. So. And then we have the user experience. Now every user leaves his footstep, the mark on the digital landscape, and the digital companies, they are really they are investing so much. I mean, billions of dollars are being invested into these researches. And
Mr. Muhammad, you are unaudible. Can you please unmute yourself? Thank you.
Okay. All right. I was unmuted. Yeah, I kept going on.
Thank you. Go ahead. You have 5 minutes left.
All right. Yeah. I'm going to wind up on time, hopefully.
Thank you.
Compass points. We have two evaluations. North, technological advantages. We have south, potential limitations. Now, technology advances are we have robust tools, fail safe. They will never fail you. Then we have the potential limitations of how far you can access them, you can use them, utilize them, you harness them. Then we have to gauge the learning effectiveness. That means it's a real time. We give you a full bar graph and chart and all that of your performance the last, and you can yourself, the learner can himself see how far he has gone into the making it successful, or where he has failed, or what it needs to be tweaked, or what are advantages. And user experience is the most important part, because every user leaves a digital landmark, a footstep on the digital landscape. So we need to discuss, along with, as a teacher educator, we're always there to go forward and chart out a pathway to the successful completion of the tasks towards the acquisition of the competences. So in the digital learning space, psychological aspect could be motivation enhancement. Like if the child doesn't know how to use the technology, he will not be motivated. Like the teachers, some of the Luddites, old traditional teachers, they refuse to budge. They don't accept the newer things. They don't embrace the technology, even if it comes handy. It cuts down on his efforts. It's burnout, and the teacher can be really, so it reduces learning anxiety. In fact, the children may feel affected. We call it affective filter. That means feel shy of speaking. You can feel shy, the pressurized from the peers, the good ones. But in the technology, with the technology, you can feel free. It's like a friend, Not all bots like friends. There is a danger of making bots as a friend. But still, bots will always be there 24/7. So it definitely increases learner autonomy. You are in more control of how you learn, what to learn, when to learn, what kind of learning objectives you set for yourself. And personalized feedback mechanism will always help you have an edge. You can always feel confident, you will be a step ahead of what, from your peers, your compatriots. And the ethical concerns always, give our opinion about is that many of these, they can steal our data privacy. But I really wonder, when you open a Gmail account, when you use a Google Doc and all that, you're already giving permission to use it, right? You use TikTok and use Facebook, and everywhere you are okay with this data privacy. But when it comes to learning and using the online tools, we cry foul against data privacy. algorithm bias our work. This is real because algorithm, it tends to be more fashionable, sophisticated digital imprints, and Westerners always have an edge over the Easterners, like struggling nations which adopted technology later. Most of the data harness and data curation comes from these big top tech companies. So obviously they will do it in your own preferred ways. So there need to be a transparency assessment process. Learner consent control. You can always ask the learner, and learners can always ask or withdraw their consent and control. So this is not a big deal as far as you are ready to adopt and learn and embrace and feel empowered with all these kinds of it's like life altering language learning tools on hand without having to pay much for it. What is the future of learning technology? Actually, emerging AI is far more robust. We are we are thinking of exceeding our capabilities, like AGI, artificial intelligence. We need more teacher training. We also need more student orientation towards adoption of these technologies, and then obviously we need to retweak, continue tool refinement in order to harness them. That's all from me for today. I'm eagerly waiting for any queries and concerns.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad. So you can ask some questions now at this point. We have 5 minutes before our next presenter will start. If you have any questions, you can ask Mr. Muhammad in the chat box, or we have a moderator, Ms. Manal, can read it out to you.
Sir, can I ask you one question, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Sir, LMS can be merged with the learning management system, sir?
Yes, it can. Yes, actually, it can be. We are using Blackboard LLM, and
okay.
Yeah, it has an inherent wiki, and it can be merged. Yes, in the real time, we can have all the data collected. You can have a look on the data.
Okay, sir. My next question, actually, I'm doing PhD right now, sir, and my PhD in forensic linguistics, sir.
Forensic, yeah, I got it. Yeah, forensic linguistics. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
So you're going for trauma kind of the events, the kind of digital prints that those leave on this, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can get in touch with me. Any assistance. I usually supervise scholars here at my place. I would be happy to assist you in any possible ways. That's not an issue.
Okay, sir. I will get your number, sir.
Sure.
And I'll connect with you, sir. I will get any problem.
Sure. My pleasure.
Mr. Mohammed, if you could kindly share your email in the chat box so the attendees can contact you if they need to. Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Please go ahead. Thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed. So Mr. Mohammed's email is in the chat box. If you want to communicate with him directly, you're most welcome to do so. And I guess there are no more questions. Thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed. It was an honor to see you today and have you at our webinar, a third episode of research series. Thank you so much.
I'm quite apologetic about the order change because I was really heading towards something. Thank you so much.